Today on UNFO News, we'll report on bombshell claims made by noted UFO researcher Jaime Maussan during the recent UAP hearings held by Mexico's Congress. This is UNFO News. The age of disclosure is here. This is UNFO News, keeping you informed. Welcome to UNFO News, your source for all the latest UFO and UAP information. I'm your host, Tony Shara. Thanks for being with us. Let's get started. Jaime Maussan, a researcher who's led UFO investigations for decades, unveiled 2 mummified corpses before stunned members of Mexico's Congress this week, which university scientists claim are not human. The bodies were allegedly recovered from algae mines in Cusco, Peru, near the famed Nazca Lines. Mexican media reported that 30% of their genetic composition is still unknown, and they are not part of human terrestrial evolution. Maussan claimed the bodies had been radiocarbon dated by the National Autonomous University of Mexico, contained 3 fingers on each hand, no teeth, 2 eye sockets, and were at least 1,000 years old. Under oath, Maussan said the beings were not recovered from UFO wreckage, but were found deep inside algae mines in Peru and were later fossilized. Maussan's shocking presentation has drawn significant skepticism from scientists and thought leaders around the world, including Ryan Graves, the Navy pilot who testified before a U.S. Congressional Subcommittee hearing about his encounters with UAPs. Graves, who was invited to speak at the UAP hearing in Mexico, posted this reaction on social media platform X. Quote, "I will continue to raise awareness of UAP as an urgent matter of aerospace safety, national security, and science, but I am deeply disappointed by this unsubstantiated stunt." End quote. British journalist Nick Pope, a former member of the UK Defence Ministry, was recently interviewed by News Nation and gave his opinion about the events in Mexico.
Nick, I have to ask, you've seen that video, and it's been hard for me not to laugh because I don't want to dismiss the work of a journalist, but the video of those corpses definitely raises an eyebrow or two. What do you make of Maussan's claims?
Yeah, I would love this to be true, but sadly, I'm not sure that it is. I'm not convinced by this. I think if it was true, we would have this written up in a scientific paper, submitted for peer review, and published in something like Science or Nature. It would be the greatest discovery of all time. So I think, sad to say, I suspect this is a hoax. I'm sure that they're well-intentioned and that they believe it's true. But I think that somebody did this some time ago with a mix of animal bones and maybe some human bones thrown in, bit of model making and things like that, which is a shame because there was some serious testimony at this hearing before the Mexican Congress about some of the other defense and national security implications of UFOs.
Nick, I'm sorry, it just looks like a bad, I don't know, E.T. made out of Play-Doh or something there. And I'm like, what is this thing? Well, the director for the Mexican Navy Science for Institute for Health testified that they performed X-rays and DNA analysis on these remains, and that did authenticate their origins. What do you say about that?
Well, one can get DNA contamination from a whole range of different circumstances. So I think the whole point about science is that it must be repeatable. So the challenge now is to get this into probably several different laboratories and get it tested. And if it turns out to be the real thing, I will eat my hat.
And save half of it for me, because I'm doubtful you're not standing on an island here. But Maussan has been debunked before. Why speak on these alleged corpses now and not before? Where is he getting this new data that he's working from?
Well, I don't know the details of why, but the timing can hardly be a coincidence. As you said in the intro, here we are now with today, literally starting in a few minutes, I think, the NASA meeting report about the study they've done. I think it's designed to kind of piggyback onto that story, which is a shame in a sense because it detracts from it. But I'm sure that Jaime Maussan is being sincere and he genuinely believes this. But as I say, DNA for non-experts can be a very confusing subject. So there's no shame in having been fooled by something like this.
Maussan and Dr. Jose Benitez, a forensic scientist from the Mexican Naval Academy, held a press conference the next day to address skeptics. Maussan maintained that the bodies discovered were indeed non-human, and Benitez invited other scientists to take samples and conduct their own analysis. UNFO News will continue to follow this extraordinary yet controversial story and provide updates as they become available. On the next episode of UNFO News, we'll report on a recent interview that UFO whistleblower David Grush and his attorney Charles McCullough, the former Inspector General of the intelligence community, gave to BBC Radio 4. During the interview, Grush claimed that the secrecy surrounding the UAP retrieval program originated from the Manhattan Project and the potential for military weapons development from recovered materials. That does it for this episode of UNFO News. I want to thank you for being here as we cover the latest UFO and UAP developments. Remember to share, like, and subscribe. Hit the bell icon to be notified of new episodes. And visit us on the web at uinfonews.com, on Twitter, and follow us on social media. I'm Tony Shara, and this is UNFO News, keeping you informed.